Jai Hind to all. This is Akanksha Shukla from Information Technology Department, and today I am going to discuss one of the topic that is related to the data analytics, and the topic name is frameworks, in which I am going to discuss about MapReduce frameworks, what is the Hadoop and Hadoop framework, what is the Apache Pig, Hive, and what is HBase. So what is MapReduce framework? Basically, we can say that it is a kind of processing technique or a program model which is used for distributed computing, and it is based upon Java programming language, and this algorithm mainly performs two important tasks. The first one is namely mapping function, and the second one is reduced. So that's why it is named as MapReduce framework. So what is the main objective of map task? That it takes a set of data, and after taking the data, it converts it into the another set of data. So where each and every individual element are broken down into the tuples in the form of key value pairs. So this is the objective of map functioning. And the secondly, reduce task is going to be performed, and which takes the output from the map function as an input, and after that it combines those all data tuples into the smaller set of tuples. So as the sequence of name MapReduce implies, so it does not possible that reduce will be performed earlier, and after the reduce functionality we can perform the map task. No, it is not possible, because it is named as MapReduce framework. So first of all, the map task is to be performed, and secondly the reduce task is to be performed. So it is the performance of MapReduce framework is in the sequence form. First of all, we are going to perform the map task, and then only we can perform the reduce task. So what is the general algorithm of this framework? So generally the MapReduce paradigm is based upon sending the computer to where the data resides. So it executes in three stages, namely map stage, shuffle stage, and reduce stage. So what is the functioning of map stage? So map or mapper's job is to process the input data. So generally the input data is in the form of file or in the form of directory. So it is stored somewhere in the Hadoop file system HDFS, and then that particular input file is passed to the mapper function line by line. Just like in an interpreter, we are going to have a line by line code. So same in this one, the input file is passed to the mapper function line by line. After that, the mapper processes the data and then creates the small chunks of data. Now, what is the task of reduce stage? In reduce stage, what happens? This stage is basically the combination of the shuffle stage and the reduce stage. Means both the stages are having a combined work. So reducer's job is to process the data which comes from the mapper stage or the mapper function, and after getting processed that particular data, it produces a new set of data or new set of output, so which will further store in Hadoop distributed file system. So during a MapReduce job, basically Hadoop sends the map and reduce the task to the appropriate servers in the clusters, and then the framework manages all the details of the data which are going to be passed, such as in a task, verifying task completion, copying the data around the clusters between the nodes. All these tasks will be performed, or all tasks will be managed by the framework. So most of the computing tasks takes place upon the nodes within the data on the local disk, which reduces the network traffic also. After completion of all the given tasks, the cluster basically collects and reduces the data to form an appropriate results, and then send it back to the Hadoop server. Now this is the basic diagrammatic representation that how map and reduce framework works. So here is the input data, we can see easily. So that particular input data is fed into the map function, and after that the reduce function is got to be performed, and then finally all the complete tasks get merged here and the output data is get received. So what is, now the question arises that what is Hadoop? What is the Hadoop framework? So basically it is also a framework that uses the distributed storage, and also it allows the parallel processing to store and manage the big data. Basically it is the software most used by the data analyst to handle the big data nowadays, and its market size continues to grow. So when we are going to deal with a large amount of data, or when we are going to deal with the voluminous amount of data, as the market size is going to increase or it continuing to grow, rapidly. So at that moment, at that time, we are having a framework which can use the distributed storage and parallel processing to store and manage that kind of big data. So the basic three components of Hadoop is Hadoop SDFS, Hadoop MapReduce, and Hadoop Yarn. So Hadoop SDFS, Hadoop distributed file system, basically it is the storage unit, we can say. That here all the files or all the data is get stored in that particular distributed system. Now basic functionality of Hadoop MapReduce, I had already told you that MapReduce basically it is one of the processing unit in Hadoop framework basically, and it processes all the input data and just generates the output results. What is the functionality of Hadoop Yarn? The full form of Yarn is yet another resource negotiator. So basically we can say that in a Hadoop framework, the three components of Hadoop are performing their own individual roles in that particular framework. So SDFS is a storage unit, MapReduce is a processing unit, and Yarn is a resource management unit which is responsible for managing the resources during the processing. Now in detail, now I am going to discuss the three components of Hadoop in some little detail form. So data is stored in a distributed manner as already told in SDFS. So two components of SDFS are name node and data node. These are the two important components of SDFS. So while there is only one name node, there can be multiple data nodes. So it is basically specially designed for storing huge data sets in a commodity hardware. So if we can say that an enterprise version of a server costs roughly $10,000 per terabyte for the full processor, and for any case you need to have 100 of these, you need to buy 100 of these enterprise version servers, then it will give up to you $1 million. So to reduce that things, or to reduce that kinds of issues, Hadoop enables you to use commodity machines as your data nodes are having, and you cannot have to spend millions of dollars for that kind of things, for that kind of particular task just on your data nodes. So the name node is always an enterprise server, and it may have many or multiple data nodes. So name node can be one, and the multiple data nodes can have inside that particular name node. So what are the features of SDFS? Basically it provides a distributed storage, and it can also be implemented on a commutative hardware. Also for providing the data security at higher level, we can have a Hadoop distributed file system. It is highly fault tolerant. So if one machine goes down, then the data from that machine goes to the next machine. So at the time of need, we can use that particular next machine for the completion of that particular task. Here in the diagram, we can see that there is a one name node, and name node can also name as master node, and the data node is also named as slave node. So we can say both data or slave nodes and master and name nodes. So there will be only one name node, and it can have a multiple data or slave nodes, and so on. So what are the functionality of master and slave nodes which are similar to name and data nodes? So basically these nodes, master and slave nodes, basically they both form the SDFS cluster. So name node is called the master node, and the data nodes are called the slaves. So basically the name node is responsible for the working of all the data nodes. It stores all the metadata also. It can have the ability to read, write, process and replicate the data. They also have capability to share the signals which are known as heartbeats to the name node. So these heartbeats shows the status of the data node. So this is the basic concept behind the master and slave nodes, which are the components inside the Hadoop distributed file system. So now this is the diagrammatical representation that how name node or data nodes can be represented inside the SDFS. So there is a one name node, and that name node is having a 30 terabyte of data, and that particular data is not divided into the blocks of 128 MB each. Further, this particular data is divided into multiple data nodes, and here the blocks are replicated among the data nodes. Means we can see that there are so many data nodes. So inside that data nodes, the blocks are replicated, so that if one machine goes down, so at the time of need, we can have another block of node for the completion of that particular task. So this particular example is explained here that we are considering the 30 terabyte of data which is loaded into the name node, and the name node is further distributing it across the data nodes, and that data is replicated among the data nodes also. And here in the image we can see that blue, gray and red data are replicated among the 3 data nodes. So that particular replication of data is performed 3 times by default. So it is done this way because if a commutative machine fails, then you can replace it with a new machine that has the same data at the time of emergency or at the time of need. Now, what is Hadoop MapReduce? Basically, it is the processing unit of Hadoop. So, in the MapReduce approach, the processing is done at the slave nodes, and the final result we can have at the master nodes. So, the data which is containing code is used to process the entire data, and this coded data is basically very small in comparison to the data itself. So, you only need to have a few kilobytes worth of code to perform a heavy duty process into the computers. Just like in this given example, we are having an input in the form of bus, car, train, ship, train, bus, ship, car. These are the some data sets which are having in the form of input. So now we are going to split that particular input into the 3 parts. So first part is bus, car, train, second is ship, train, and the third one is bus, ship, car. Further, after splitting, we are having the next phase which is known as mapping phase. So in the mapping, what we are doing? In the mapping, we are having the counts of the data which are having in the including in the initial level at the input node. So bus, the occurrence of bus is 1 in this particular data set, and the car is also occurring at a time 1, and train is also occurring at a time of 1. Next one, ship, train. So first of all, ship having value 1, and then again ship having value 1, and then again train having value 1. Then in this particular data set, bus is having 1 value, ship is having 1 value, and the car is having 1 value. After mapping function, what we are having? Another phase. We are having the another phase in the form of shuffling and sorting. So in shuffling and sorting, what we are going to do? We are having the first element just like bus. So bus comma 1 is taking as an input from this particular phase, and again we check in the particular data set that again is there any case that again if there is a occurrence of bus, then we will write that particular element also here. So in third part we can have another bus. So we are going to put here bus comma 1. These are the counts. Then next word is car. So similarly we perform the same process again and again, and we can see that in shuffling and sorting we are having bus comma 1 2 times, car comma 1 2 times, ship is having 3 time occurrences. So ship comma 1, ship comma 1, ship comma 1 3 times, and train comma 1, train comma 1 2 times. After that, this particular whole data will get reduced into a single data with their particular occurrences. So we can see here that bus is occurring 2 times. So we are having bus comma 2, car is occurring 2 times, so car comma 2, ship has its occurrence in the input data 3 times, so ship comma 3, and the train is having its occurrence in the input data only 2 times. So we are having this particular data. So this is the complete processing of input data by using MapReduce processing unit, and we are having the output in this form. So the input data set is first splits into the chunks of data, just like I had explained in the example. So separate entities bus, car, train, ship, train, and bus, ship, car, that is splitted, and then we are having only 1 bus, 1 car, 1 ship, and 1 train. So these are the key value pairs which are then shuffled and sorted, and then together we are having the final output after performing the aggregation over this particular line. So what is the Hadoop yarn? Basically it is a resource management unit. So it provides the resources, or it manages the resources which are available as a component of Hadoop version 2. So it just like in OS we have a processing unit, we have a resource management unit just like OS. So it is just performing its tasks like a operating system. So we can say that it acts like a operating system to Hadoop. So it is a file system that is built upon the top of the Hadoop distributed file system, and basically the main responsibility of this Hadoop yarn is to manage the cluster resources to make sure that you don't overload one resource or one machine at a time. So that particular machine, that all the resources should be managed in such a way that not a single machine can be get overloaded. So it performs just like job scheduling. We can say that it performs the job scheduling to make sure that all the jobs are scheduled in the right place. So here we can see that these are the client machines, this is the resource management, and here we are having the node managers, and inside the node managers we are having two components, application master and the container, and sometimes we have only containers. So if suppose we can say that if a client wants to do a query of or fetch some data, fetch some node for data analysis, then this particular job request goes to the resource manager, that is Hadoop yarn, and which is responsible for resource allocation and for resource management. And in the node section we can see that each of the nodes has its own node managers, and these node managers manages the nodes and then monitors the resource usage in that particular node. So container contains all the collection of physical resources, which could be RAM, CPU or hard drives. So whenever a job request comes in, the app master requests the container from the node manager, and that particular node manager gets the resource. If at a time, then it goes back to the resource manager itself. Now, what is Apache Pig? It is also a high-level data flow platform which is responsible for executing the MapReduce programs for Hadoop. That's why I have included all these topics inside my one lecture. So the language basically used for Pig is Pig Latin, and this Pig scripts get internally converted to the MapReduce jobs, and then they are get executed on a data which is stored in the Hadoop distributed file system. It can have the ability to handle any type of data, and as we all know that data can be of three types: structured, semi-structured or unstructured, and then it stores the corresponding results into the Hadoop data file system. So various uses of Pig technologies: ease of programming, that writing complex Java programs for MapReduce is very tough or difficult. So Pig makes this process easy, and optimization opportunities also. So it is how the tasks are encoded. So it permits the system to optimize their execution also automatically, allowing the users to focus upon the semantics rather than the efficiency. Now, in the form of extensibility, so basically there is a user defined function which is written in which the user can write their own custom logics to execute over the data sets. It is also very flexible, so it can, as I said, that it can easily handle structured as well as unstructured data. So it is also very flexible. In built operators, it contains various types of operators, just like sorting, filtering and join merging. So due to the usage of that particular inbuilt operators, the programming get more easy. Now, what is Hive? It is also an application which runs over the Hadoop framework, and it also provides a SQL-like interface, just like for processing queries over the particular data. So it is designed and developed by the Facebook before becoming the part of the Apache Hadoop project. It runs its query using Hive query language. Just like SQL, it is having another language which is known as Hive query language. So it is having the same structure just like RDBMS, and almost the same commands which can be used in Hive also. It also stores the data in the external tables. So it's not mandatory to use HDFS also, because it supports the file format just like WASI, Avro files, sequence files and text files also. Now, what is the basic difference between Apache MapReduce and Apache Pig? Basically, Apache MapReduce is a low-level data processing tool, and it is a high-level data flow tool. In Apache MapReduce, it is required to develop complex programs just like using Java, Python, but it is not required in Apache Pig to develop complex programs. It is difficult to perform data operations in MapReduce, but it provides the built-in operators to perform data operations just like union, sorting, filtering, ordering and merging. It does not allow nested data types, but Apache Pig can provide nested data types just like tuple, bag and mapping functionalities. And what is HBase? Basically, it is also a distributed column-oriented database which is presented upon the top of the Hadoop file system. And it is an open source project, and it is horizontally basically scalable. We can say that it is a kind of data model which is similar to Google's Big Table, which is designed to provide the quick random access to the huge amount of structured data. So basically, when we are having a very large amount of or a huge amount of data, so to provide the quick random access to that particular data, we are having the HBase. So it leverages the fault tolerance which is provided by the Hadoop file system. and it provides random real-time read or write access to the data in the Hadoop file system. So for example, in a Hadoop file system, we want to access any data, then we are having a HBase. So by using this particular facility, we can have a random access to that particular data in the Hadoop file system. So one can store the data in HDFS either directly or also through HBase. So data consumer, basically in the diagram we can see that data consumer reads the data in the HDFS randomly by using the HBase, and basically HBase sits upon the top of the Hadoop file system and it provides both read and write access to the consumers, and then the data producer can have the functionality of writing or updating the data to the Hadoop file system. So it is basically writing and then updating the Hadoop distributed file system by using only HBase. That's all from my side. Thank you.